Hello students, let me explain the condition for a body to float or sink in a fluid. So what is a condition for a body to float or sink in a fluid? Okay, from this diagram we can see a body which is cubical body which is immersed inside the liquid. So it has two forces acting on it. First force is the weight which is acting downward. This weight is the weight of the body, and another force is the upthrust force. In this case it is F prime B. F prime B is the maximum upthrust force. So there are two forces, one is upthrust, another is weight acting on the body. Weight tries the body, weight force makes the body to sink, and the upthrust force makes the body to float. So we know that FB is the FB is the upthrust. FB is the upthrust and F prime B is the maximum upthrust. Okay, so what does it mean? It means, see, if I have a body like this, if the body can float like this, then the force, here it is weight acting and here it is upthrust acting. So this is upthrust, this is not the maximum upthrust because the body is not completely immersed. Okay, as you try to immerse the body downward, then what happens? The upthrust starts increasing. Okay, when you completely immerse the body, like in this case, see, when the body is completely immersed, then the upthrust will become equal to the maximum upthrust. Okay, so that's the difference between the FB, which is upthrust, and the maximum upthrust. Okay, so let's check the condition. Let's say we have a body of weight W. Okay, if you have a body of weight W, then if maximum upthrust is greater than W, that is maximum upthrust, okay, means when we completely immerse the body, then where upthrust is active on that body, that is called the maximum upthrust. When the maximum upthrust is greater than the weight of the body, all equal to the weight of the body, in both cases the body will float. Okay, if the maximum upthrust is equal to the weight of the body or greater than the weight of the body will float. The only difference is that if the maximum upthrust is equal to the weight of the body, in that case the body will be completely immersed. Okay, when the F prime B maximum upthrust becomes equal to the weight, the body will be completely immersed, but it will float. Okay, it will float, it won't sink. And the second case, when the maximum upthrust is greater than the weight of the body, in that case also the body will float, but only difference is that some part of the body will be immersed inside the liquid and some part of it will be above the surface of the liquid, but it will float. So that's the only two difference. Okay, the third condition says when the maximum upthrust is less than the weight of the body. If any case the maximum upthrust is less than the weight of the body, then the body will go down, body will sink, body will be sinking. Okay, so that will happen. Okay, so you understood the condition for floating or sinking. Now let's see the characteristics of properties of upthrust. So what are the characteristics properties of upthrust? First property says, larger the volume of the body submerged in a liquid, greater is the upthrust, which is obvious. As I told you, in this case the what's happening? See, in this case the upthrust is maximum. In this case the upthrust is maximum because whole body is immersed inside the liquid, so whole volume is submerged. Okay, larger the volume of the body submerged in a liquid, greater is the upthrust. So here whole volume is submerged, therefore upthrust will be maximum. Here you can see only half of the volume is submerged, therefore upthrust will be not maximum. There will be upthrust but some particular value. So larger is the volume of the body submerged in the fluid, greater is the upthrust. Second characteristics, for same volume inside the fluid, more the density of the fluid, greater is the upthrust. Okay, if we have a two fluid, if you have two fluid, okay, one fluid is, let's say in this case, we have two fluid. One fluid is water, another fluid is glycerin. The glycerin density is more than the water. So even if we, for example, let's see this example. So this is liquid. This liquid can be anything. Let's say we have one liquid as water, another liquid as glycerin. So glycerin has more density than the water. Therefore, greater is the density of the liquid, greater will be upthrust. Okay. Therefore, what happens if you try to sink any object in the water, then and in the glycerin, you can see in water some of the object may sink, but in glycerin some of the object do not sink because the glycerin has more density. Therefore, it will have more upthrust. Or you can see another example. If in the glycerin, if in the water the body is completely immersed, then you can see in water, if the in water the body is completely immersed, then you can see in glycerin the body will be half immersed because upthrust will be more. So that can happen. So more is the density of the water, more is the density of the fluid, more is the upthrust. Okay. Third condition, the upthrust acts on the body in upward direction at the center of buoyancy. Okay, this is very important thing you have to understand here. What is center of buoyancy? Center of buoyancy is the center of gravity of displaced liquid. That thing you have to understand. See, you can see here, what is the center of gravity of this object? Center of gravity of this object, which is a symmetrical object, which is a square. In this case, it is a cubical object. So center of gravity of a cubical object is center of this shape. So this is the center of gravity, and we always know that the weight acts from the center of gravity. But from where the buoyancy acts? Is the buoyancy also acts from the center of gravity? No, buoyancy doesn't act from the center of gravity, but buoyancy acts from the center of buoyancy. So what is center of buoyancy? Let me explain what is center of buoyancy. So you can see this is the center of gravity.